Well, good morning, folks. It's about 5:45 a.m. in the morning. It's June 2023, and yes, once again, I'm on another adventure. I left home this morning at a ridiculous hour of the morning, having extracted myself from my labba, and I'm destined for Castletown Bear and on to the Dursey cable car, which will take me across the Dursey Island. The weather is beautiful, shorts and short sleeves, but there is forecast for thundery downpours. So I'm just hoping that it's not going to affect me and that I can continue my adventures in beautiful weather. Now, it's quite nippy standing here. Whiddy Island is behind me, and I've come through Glengarriff in the last 15 minutes. So having left Fermoy very early this morning, I'm here heading out the Beara Peninsula. So my next port to call will be Adlergole, followed by Castletown Bear, and then to the Dursey cable car, which will take me across to Dursey Island. About 2 kilometers from the Dursey Island cable car. So I'm well on time. I'm getting the first crossing this morning. It's become quite overcast, but it's 17 degrees and it's still only 8 a.m. The island has just 6 or so permanent residents and is connected to the mainland by Ireland's only cable car. The cable car system, which was closed for maintenance during 2022, was reopened in mid-2023. Well, I'm here at the Dursey Sound and the site of the Dursey cable car. So I'm making my way across to the island as soon as employees present here. We've heard of last man standing, but this morning I'm first man standing here at the cable car, and I'm eager to get myself across to the island and get my legs moving. Well, good morning again, folks. Well, at last I've arrived onto Dursey Island after a trip of about 8-9 minutes across on the new reconstructed cable car system. So now I've begun my walk. It's very early in the morning. It's mild, but notice the fleece is put on because before I got on the cable car on the mainland it was quite chilly. Dursey Island lies at the southwestern tip of the Beara Peninsula in West Cork. Dursey Island is 6.5 kilometres long and 1.5 kilometres wide. The island is separated from the mainland by a narrow stretch of water, Dursey Sound, which has a very strong tidal race and with submerged flat rock close to the centre of the channel. Monks from Skellig Rock are said to have founded this ancient church of Kilmichael here on Dursey Island. The monastery, according to O'Sullivan, the monastic chapel, which was already in ruins in 1602, was built by a Spanish bishop named Bonaventure and later dismantled by pirates. It had Franciscan associations and probably dates from the early 16th century. The small island close by, barely separated from Dursey Island, is Ullán Beag. Here O'Sullivan's father Diarmuid, born in 1533, uncle of chieftain Donald Cam O'Sullivan Beara, built a castle or fort on the higher ground. A drawbridge once connected Ullán Beag to Dursey Island. Ullán Beag was the last stronghold of Donald Cam O'Sullivan Beara. Following the defeat of the Irish forces at the Battle of Kinsale in 1601, he had entrusted it to an ally who garrisoned the fort with some of his men. In June 1602, the English commander Sir George Carew besieged Donald Cam's castle at Dunboy near Castledownbere, and also sent vessels carrying 160 men to capture Ullán Beag stronghold. Donald Cam's cousin and rival Owen O'Sullivan aided this operation in an act of feudal revenge. Donald Cam had kidnapped Owen's wife and was holding her captive at Ullán Beag. On Sunday the 13th of June 1602, the military landed on Dursey Island and launched a coordinated assault on Ullán Beag. One party manned a cannon on rising ground overlooking the little island, while the ruined monastery walls served as cover for another group. Cannons were fired from the ship Merlin, and a detachment came ashore at a cove on the east side of Ullán Beag. After a few hours, the surviving defenders, outnumbered and outgunned, surrendered. They were later hanged at Dunboy. The victors released Owen's wife and soon afterwards razed the castle. Today, only the foundations are visible. According to Philip O'Sullivan, the soldiers burned houses and the church and slaughtered over 300 people, mainly old men, women and children. Most of them were his father's tenants. I'm walking amongst ruins on another historic island off the Irish mainland. Places that I love to walk around. Close the gate this time. Keep out the sheep. Keep out the sheep. So now I'm going to head on further into the island and make my way hopefully up onto the castle site. Okay, this is these islands are great places if you're looking for adventure. In the summer months, locate all these islands. Myself and my good wife have been to many of the islands off the south, southwest and west coast. I've got a complete island to myself, apart from grazing sheep and lots of sheep. But since I came off the cable car, I've met one elderly resident going shopping to Castledownbere and 2 waterboard technicians. Now, like lots, if not most, of all the offshore Irish islands off the Irish mainland, most are really small, but most are uninhabited. Tough times, weather, famine, you name it, all have had a big part to play in island life and its demise, which is a real pity. Wouldn't these kind of islands, with the modern day transport systems and telecommunications, wouldn't they be an ideal location geographically to bring up a family? You sure would. I'm drawn to the islands off the south, southwest and west coast of Ireland. As I said earlier, I just find a lure to be on them. Yep, I do so. Again this morning, I'm looking out over my kingdom from a lofty perch on Dursey Island. Again, once again, in gorgeous weather. During my 5-day walking odyssey on St. Declan's Way and having lunch in medieval graveyards and historic church ruins. And then, when I encountered the Galtee Mountains last week, I had lunch on the base of Galtee Moor and savoured the view. But I think today, the view that's been given to me courtesy of Dursey Island landscape is certainly going to be one to embrace and savour. So now I've taken a deviation here and I'm going to do the Dursey Island mountain walking route, which is going to tax the knees, the ankles and the feet and the body, of course. But I want to do the loop, and there's only one way: onwards and upwards. Always ensure when you are walking out of the way trails and tracks and you're coming across private land and so forth, and there's thousands of sheep around me here, make sure that any gate that you open, no matter how hard or how difficult it is to get it open, and some of them are quite difficult, to close it behind you. You don't want stock taken off around the countryside on people, or around the island in this case. This is another walk that's not a walk in the park. It's a walk on an island, but with many hills. Many hills. But I'm up for that. I'm up for that. I wouldn't be here if I thought I had reservations about not being able for terrain like this. So, in the past few months, I've given the old body a good shake out. It's gotten rid of the winter blues. But this particular walk now, again, is a very special walk. This is a special walk. I've done Inishbofin, I've done the Aran Islands, I've been to Tory Island, I've been to Valentia Island, I've been to Clare Island. Again, I say to you today, like I've done so many times in the past few weeks during my walking adventures, I could spend a week out here. A week would be too much for this island. It's not a big island, but it's a big island to walk around. But I could spend a week out here. Look what's after coming out. The sun has begun to shine. Thank you, Lord. This is fantastic. Where do we go from here, Jim? Oh, there's a stile. So I must make my way over there, I think. But I don't like the look of this great big mountain in front of me. So it's possible that I, ouch, stung by some sort of a creature. I spoke too soon. But he's no longer with us. Now, ascend and descend as shown on the handrails. Are we that stupid in Ireland? No. God, there's a view down there to die for. Take a look at the scene and the vista over my right shoulder. It is something else. But ahead of me now I have a huge climb. It's virtually straight up, a bit like a mini Galtymore from some days ago. But it's not going to come down to me. I gotta get up over it. So here goes. No point in talking about it. As my granddaughter says, Gaga, you're a talker, but you're also a doer. That's just an 8-year-old grandchild. I suppose she's right. She's been with me for 8 years, so she knows what I'm like. Now this is hard. This is hard going. Woo! Even though that this type of walking on terrain like this can knock the stuffing out of you, what it actually does in a beneficial way is it strengthens you up. It makes you so loose and so flexible that even that I describe this climb to you and it's still going on, I can do it with ease if you set a pace. The backpack, it tends to bring you backwards when you take one step off the floor to go over a mound of earth. So you got to be careful with a backpack when it's heavy. It can take you backwards. And going up Galtymore last week, that was never tested so much as it was then, because Galtymore was straight up. The backpack being 5 kilos, it had a tendency to bring you backwards. And if you fall backwards in Galtymore, or with any mountain with a backpack, you're likely to be hurt. So take care. Take care. Only do what you feel you're up to and what you're comfortable with. Over my right shoulder, away out to sea, don't know how far it is in kilometers or miles, you can see 2 clumps of pointed rock facing up to the sky. The nearest one over my right shoulder, the nearest one to us, is Skellig Michael, the famous monastic World Heritage Site. Recently, well, in the past few years, there was a segment of a Star Wars movie made out there, which should never have been allowed. But however, it was done, and I'm sure the Office of Public Works and the Irish government, the coffers were handsomely greased for the privilege of filming out there. But that's Skellig Michael. Now you can see from my vantage point here, I'm pretty high, but there is a higher mountain where the castle is, and that's my next destination. So I might put the bird in the air and show you this landscape from above. The flies are biting pretty severely now. I must have done something to them in another life, but I'm after swatting away about 50 of them, and they're RIP at this stage. But I'm sure there's another 15 million to take their place. So, this is Dursey Island, off the Beara Peninsula in West Cork, in County Cork, in the Emerald Isle, Ireland.
I remember how she taught me to fly with a soft embrace full of sky. She believed in me, gave me eyes to see the divine. Bless the angels who come into our lives. Bless the angels who bring hope to our nights. Bless the angels who give wings to our dreams and share their light that we may rise. Every person is a keeper of fire, with the power to heal and inspire. From one candle flame, the whole world can change. Share light. Bless the angels who come into our lives. Bless the angels who bring hope to our nights. Bless the angels who give wings to our dreams and share their light that we may
What can I say to you without being boring and repetitive? It is just magnificent here. This was an island that I was visiting many years ago, and again something happened on the day before which prevented me from travelling out here, and eventually it got itself onto the bucket list. And today, or this evening, when I get back from the cable car trip, I'll cross it off the bucket list. You think about the people that carved their living out of the side of these hills in the dark ages. No electricity, no water, no heating, thatch roofs, dry stone walled houses and homes, dampness underneath foot, earthen floors, dogs and animals and livestock living in the house with them to maintain warmth, like it was on the Aran Islands. And if you go back to my Facebook and YouTube pages, you will find a 3-part documentary on the Blasket Island, the Great Blasket Island. Many of you have asked over a period of time, how the bloody hell do you do it, Jim? And my question is, do what? And they say all this walking on hills and mountains and whatever. I just do it because it's there to do it, and the body is sufficiently strong, willing and able enough to enjoy it. This is what I do. I just didn't start this a few years ago when social media and all its trappings came to prominence. I've been doing this all my bloody life, and I have. Dursey Island Signal Tower was built 200 years ago as part of a line of defence during the Napoleonic Wars.